If you turned on a television in the mid-1960s, you'd see a man on stage. Tight pants, shirt open at the chest, singing while swaying his hips in ways that made mothers cover their daughters' eyes. Women would scream, throwing not flowers, but underwear onto the stage. Hotel room keys. Phone numbers scribbled on napkins. His name was Tom Jones. And he wasn't just singing. He was transforming Wales's coal dust into Las Vegas glitter, turning poverty into power, turning a miner's son into a sex symbol. This is Tom's journey from Pontypridd's narrow streets to the world's biggest stages, from there to near oblivion when the world forgot him, and back to knighthood when a new generation rediscovered what their parents had known all along. This is the story of a man who never lost his voice but lived every day with the risk of losing everything else. And perhaps for the first time you'll see the vulnerable boy behind that powerful voice, the faithful husband behind the playboy image, the coal miner's son who never forgot where he came from, even when standing in palaces. June 7th, 1940, in Pontypridd, Wales, Thomas John Woodward was born in a tiny terraced house on Laura Street. His father Thomas was a coal miner, coming home every night covered in black dust that never quite washed off. His mother Frida was a housewife who stretched every penny to feed the family. Working class family, they were genuinely poor, but fiercely proud in that Welsh way. Tom grew up among Wales' green hills, in a mining town where the air smelled perpetually of coal dust and dampness. That's where men went underground before dawn and came up after dark, where life was hard and short, and you took your joy where you found it. Welsh was sometimes spoken at home, especially by the older generation, but mostly English with that thick Valleys accent. Miners' barracks lined the streets, narrow and identical, hard life etched into every brick. Tom was shaped by this world of rough men and strong women, of chapel on Sunday and pub on Saturday, of rugby and male voice choirs and knowing your place. At 12, disaster struck. Tom caught tuberculosis, the disease that killed so many in those damp valleys. He spent nearly 2 years confined to bed in the front room, watching life pass by the window. Couldn't go to school, couldn't play with friends, couldn't do anything but lie there and wonder if he'd die young like so many did. His mother nursed him through fevers and night sweats, and he listened to the radio endlessly. American Forces Network mostly. Music became his window to a world beyond Pontypridd's narrow streets. Elvis Presley singing Hound Dog and making it sound dangerous. Jerry Lee Lewis pounding that piano like he wanted to break it. Little Richard screaming in ways that sounded almost obscene. He'd listen with his eyes closed and imagine being there, being them. I can do this too, he thought in that small room. If I survive this, I can do this. And he was right on both counts. At 14, still weak from the TB but alive, he dropped out of school. In the Welsh valleys, this was normal for working-class boys. School was for toffs. You worked. Tom took whatever jobs he could find. Worked construction, you hauling bricks and mixing cement until his back screamed. Worked at the paper factory, the chemical smell burning his lungs that had barely recovered from TB. Hands hardened into calluses. Back developed the permanent ache of manual labour. But at night, whenever he could, he'd sing. In local working men's clubs where miners drank their wages. In small pubs where nobody really listened. Started calling himself Tommy Scott and formed a group, Tommy Scott and the Senators. They did covers of American rock and roll, Elvis and Jerry Lee. But nobody really cared beyond the locals. Just another valley band. Wales was full of them. Seemed like Tommy Scott would never be anything more than a local kid with a good voice singing to drunk miners on Saturday nights. At 16, he met Linda Trenchard at a bus stop. Linda, girl from down the valley, and pretty, shy, completely unlike the flashy girls who hung around the bands. Tom fell hard and fast. Within months, Linda was pregnant. She was 16. Tom was 17. In 1957, they married in a small ceremony at Pontypridd Registry Office. No money for a big wedding. They moved into a tiny flat. Their son Mark was born. And suddenly Tommy Scott wasn't just a kid with dreams. He was a father with responsibilities, a wife depending on him, a baby needing food. He worked more construction jobs, came home covered in dust like his father, wondered if this was it, if he'd spend his life underground or on scaffolding, singing on weekends to people who weren't really listening. But he didn't quit music. Couldn't. Because those few hours on stage were the only time he felt like himself. Like he was more than just another valley boy going nowhere. In 1963, everything changed because of one man. Gordon Mills, a songwriter from London who'd had some success, was scouting talent in Wales. Walked into a club in Pontypridd one night, heard this local kid singing, and saw something nobody else had seen. Not just a good voice, star quality, that indefinable thing. After the show, Mills cornered him. "You can be a star," Mills said, London accent sharp against the Welsh voices. "But Tommy Scott won't do it. You need a name, something memorable, something sexy." They talked for hours. Mills mentioned the 18th century novel Tom Jones about a bastard boy who sleeps his way through Georgian England. Sexy, scandalous, memorable. "Tom Jones," Mills said. "That's your name now." Tom hesitated. His real name was Woodward, his grandfather's name. But he wanted this so badly he could taste it. "Yeah, okay," he said. And just like that, Tommy Scott from Pontypridd died. Tom Jones was born. Mills took him to London in 1964. Swinging London, the Beatles were exploding. The whole world was watching Britain. Tom was a complete outsider. Working-class Welsh accent thick as treacle, wearing clothes that screamed valleys, walking into a world of art school mods and middle-class rock stars. London terrified him, but Mills believed with absolute conviction. They entered Decca Studios. First single, Chills and Fever. Released it. Nothing happened. Complete flop. Radio didn't play it. Nobody bought it. Tom thought it was over before it began. But Mills found another song. Strange thing written by Les Reed and Gordon Mills himself. It's not unusual. Odd rhythm that didn't quite make sense. Unexpected melody that went places pop songs didn't usually go. But when Tom sang it in the studio, something happened. His voice, that powerful, raw, masculine thing honed in working men's clubs, gave the strange song a sexual energy nobody expected. Released in 1965, and it exploded. Number 1 in the UK within weeks. Top 10 in America. Tom Jones woke up famous. Television came calling immediately. The Ed Sullivan Show in America, the biggest platform in the world. Tom flew to New York, first time on a plane, first time out of Britain. Stood on that stage where Elvis had stood, where the Beatles had stood, and did something none of them had done quite like this. He moved, not just performed, moved his whole body, swayed his hips in ways that made the camera operators nervous, grabbed the microphone stand and thrust it suggestively, opened his shirt to show chest hair and sweat. The studio audience, mostly women, lost their minds, screaming, reaching for him. Ed Sullivan looked uncomfortable. America looked fascinated. Tom Jones wasn't like the British invasion bands. He was raw, sexual, dangerous in a way that felt adult, not teenage. What's New Pussycat came next, soundtrack for a Woody Allen film. That bass line, that growl in Tom's voice. Then more hits. It's Not Unusual performed on every show, Tom getting more confident, more outrageous. Women started throwing things on stage. At first flowers, then underwear, then hotel room keys with room numbers attached. Tom didn't discourage it. This was attention. This was fame. This was everything Pontypridd wasn't. In 1968, Las Vegas called. The entertainment capital of the world wanted Tom Jones. Tom first residency at the Flamingo Hotel. Vegas in the late 60s was the kingdom of Sinatra, of Dean Martin, of old-school male entertainers in tuxedos crooning to middle-aged crowds. Tom arrived and changed the game. He was 28, young and virile where they were aging and nostalgic. He moved like Elvis but sang like Sinatra. The combination was lethal. Opening night, women in the audience, housewives from the Midwest, secretaries on vacation, rich divorcees, screamed like teenagers. Threw underwear, threw room keys. Tom developed a routine. He'd pick up the underwear, wipe his face with it, throw it back. The crowd went insane. Vegas had never seen anything like it. Shows sold out instantly. 2 performances a night, 7 nights a week. Every single seat filled with women who wanted him and men who wanted to be him. Tom became one of Vegas's biggest draws, earning money he couldn't have imagined in Pontypridd. In 1969, Delilah was released. A murder ballad, basically. Man kills his cheating lover in a jealous rage. Dark, obsessive, dramatic. Tom sang it like he meant every violent word. It became massive in the UK, especially Wales, where it became an unofficial anthem sung at rugby matches, in pubs, anywhere Welsh people gathered. That song, more than any other, connected Tom to his roots, even as he lived in Vegas penthouses. The 1970s rolled on. She's a Lady in 1971, #1, establishing Tom as a superstar. Private jets, mansion in Los Angeles, fleet of luxury cars, everything a poor kid could dream of. But one thing never changed. Linda. She mostly stayed in their house, didn't come to Vegas much, didn't like the showbiz life. Tom had affairs, didn't hide it, sometimes didn't even try to be discreet. Paternity suits would come later, but he never left Linda, never considered it. She's my home, he told interviewers. Everything else is just show business. But by the late 70s, the music world was changing, and Tom wasn't changing with it. Disco came. Tom tried it, didn't work. Punk exploded in Britain. Everything Tom represented, punk despised. New wave, synth pop, all the new sounds made Tom Jones seem like a relic. A Vegas showman doing the same act he'd done in 1968. Young people mocked him. The underwear throwing became a joke, not a phenomenon. Dad's music. Cheesy. Outdated. Hits stopped coming. By the early 1980s, Tom was still selling out in Vegas to aging crowds, but culturally, he'd become irrelevant. Just another 60s star who'd outlived his moment. Then, in 1986, personal devastation. Gordon Mills, his manager, his friend, the man who discovered him and created Tom Jones, died of stomach cancer at only 51. Tom was shattered. Mills had guided every decision for over 20 years. Without him, Tom felt lost. His son Mark, now in his late 20s, stepped up. "I'll manage you, Dad," Mark said. Tom was skeptical. What did Mark know about show business? But Mark understood something important. His father needed to evolve or die professionally. "You can't just do Vegas forever, Dad," Mark said. "The world's moved on. You need to move too." But Tom, proud and stubborn in that Welsh way, resisted. "I'm Tom Jones. I don't change for anybody." 1987's Matador album proved Mark right. Traditional Tom Jones formula. Nobody bought it, or radio ignored it. Critics dismissed it as irrelevant. Tom was 47 and facing the possibility that his career was genuinely over. Not just slows, over. But in 1988, salvation came from the strangest place. A British electronic group called The Art of Noise wanted to cover Prince's Kiss and needed a vocalist. Somebody suggested Tom Jones, as a joke at first. But producer Trevor Horn thought it could work, that voice against cutting-edge electronics. They recorded it. Tom's powerful vocals over drum machines and synths, turning Prince's falsetto original into something completely different. Released it with a video of Tom looking cool and modern, not Vegas showman, but genuine artist. MTV played it constantly. The song was a massive hit. Suddenly, young people who dismissed Tom as their parents' embarrassment were saying, "Wait, this guy's actually cool." The 1990s became Tom's second act. He worked with young alternative artists who respected him as a vocal powerhouse. In 1999, Reload changed everything, an album of duets with the hottest acts. Stereophonics, The Cardigans, Robbie Williams, and Sex Bomb with Moose T, a massive dance hit. Tom was 59 years old and back on top of the charts, but this time as a respected artist, not just a Vegas novelty. Young audiences discovered that beneath the showman image was one of the most powerful voices in popular music. Glastonbury Festival 2000, Tom headlined and 100,000 young people sang every word. The 2000s brought the respect Tom had always deserved. In 2006, Queen Elizabeth II knighted him, Sir Tom Jones, the coal miner's son from Pontypridd. Linda attended the ceremony at Buckingham Palace, frail now, but proud. If 50 years they'd been married. Through everything, the fame, the affairs, the career ups and downs, Linda had been there. "She kept me real," Tom said. "She knew me before all this. She was the only one who did." April 10th, 2016. Linda died of lung cancer. Tom was 75 and lost. They'd been married 59 years. She was the only woman he'd ever truly loved. Everything else had been just physical. He cancelled tours, disappeared from public life, fell into genuine depression for the first time. "What's the point of any of it without her?" he asked his son. But slowly, painfully, he came back. Because music was all he had left. All he'd ever really had. Today, Tom Jones is 84 years old, still performing when health allows. The voice isn't what it was at 25, nobody's is, but it's still powerful, still emotional, still unmistakably Tom Jones. He's survived longer than most of his contemporaries, outlasted trends, outlasted mockery, outlasted near-oblivion. Because underneath the hip-swiveling showman was always a coal miner's son with a gift and the stubbornness to never give up on it. An empty Las Vegas stage late at night, house lights down, a single microphone stand catching the ghost light. Somewhere, Delilah plays softly, and if you close your eyes, you can still see him. Young, sweating, dangerous, that voice filling every corner of the room, women screaming. But now you understand what those screams really meant. They were the sound of impossible dreams coming true. The sound of a boy from nowhere, becoming somebody. And some voices, some stories, never die. They just echo louder as time passes, reminding us that where you come from doesn't define where you can go. So how do you remember Tom Jones? As that sexy showman with the underwear flying, or as the working-class hero from Wales who proved you could make it without forgetting where you came from? Share with us in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another journey through music history's most resilient voices.